faithfully conveying value, interpreting great books worldwide. Hello, this is Sally's Book Talk. Today we're exploring how to talk so kids will listen and how to listen so kids will talk. Many parents find communicating with their children incredibly difficult. When kids are young, they throw tantrums over small things. Parents can't soothe their emotions or reason with them, no matter what they try. As children grow older, they withdraw completely, ignoring parents' concerns, refusing to share anything, rejecting advice, sometimes rebelling just for rebellion's sake. They won't listen and won't talk. Ultimately, communication breaks down and parent-child relationships deteriorate. So how can we communicate effectively with children? Authors Adele Faber and Elaine Moslish, internationally renowned parenting experts, developed intuitive, practical communication methods that help families connect, build harmonious relationships, and empower children to solve problems independently. They've lectured worldwide to parents, teachers, teens, educators, and institutions, sharing parenting insights. They later compiled these methods into this book to help more families. First published in 1980, over 40 years ago, its enduring relevance comes from addressing every generation's core parenting challenge. Translated into 30 or more languages, used by 200,000 or more parenting groups globally, with over 10 million copies sold, the authors earned recognition in Who's Who in America for transforming family education. Now, organized into 7 chapters covering feelings, cooperation, discipline, praise, and independence, all through daily interactions. I'll distill these into 2 key questions. First, why won't children listen or talk? Second, what can parents do to encourage listening and sharing? Let's examine the first question. Why don't children want to listen or talk? Drawing from the author's case studies, we can identify 5 core reasons. First, parents often deny and ignore their children's feelings. Let's look at a parent-child dialogue. A 7-year-old child comes home from school, and his mom asks, "How was school today?" The child says, "I'm not happy at all because I had a fight with Wan Swan today." Mom says, "Why did you fight?" The child replies, "Because Shuan never wants to play the games I suggest. Whatever I want to do, he doesn't want to." Mom says again, "And why didn't you ask Swan? What does he want to do?" You need to learn to communicate with others. You can't just do whatever you want. The child says, "But his ideas are boring." Mom says, "Then you can go play with someone else." The child answers, "I don't want to play with anyone else either. School is no fun at all." Mom shakes her head and says, "It's such a small thing. Don't think about it. Tomorrow will be better." The child says unhappily, "Tomorrow won't be better. I never want to be friends with Swan again." Mom says again, "Don't say that. You'll regret losing a friend." The child mutters softly, "I won't regret it. I don't want so many friends. I don't like this school anyway." In this case, the communication between mom and child was very strained. Every suggestion from mom was rebuffed by the child, and after talking with mom, the child became even more unhappy. And this is because mom was denying and ignoring the child's feelings. For example, the child told mom that school was no fun at all. Mom's response was, "It's such a small thing. Don't think about it. Tomorrow will be better." She completely ignored the child's feelings of frustration and annoyance. In daily life, such scenarios are common. For instance, a 5-year-old child comes back from kindergarten and tells mom, "Mom, today in kindergarten, I was making a clay rabbit craft, but it didn't turn out well. The rabbit's ear fell off." As he speaks, the child starts crying loudly. At this point, many parents usually comfort the child by saying, "Oh, it's just a rabbit. There's nothing to cry about." Or, "It's okay. Just make another one." Another example, a child comes home crying after finishing last in a school running race. The parent's first reaction might be to quickly comfort the child. It's okay, just try harder next time." The parent's intention is to help the child get rid of bad feelings quickly, but from the child's perspective, phrases like, "It doesn't matter," "It's okay," "Don't think about it," are all ways parents deny their feelings. When children's feelings are denied or ignored, no matter how well-intentioned the parents are, the child only becomes more upset. They may even feel angry, thinking their parents simply don't understand them. Well, worse still, behind this denial lies an implicit message. Children shouldn't trust their own feelings. Just rely on adult judgment. Over time, children stop sharing because they believe parents will never understand. In that earlier dialogue, we find more reasons why children refuse to listen or talk. The second reason is parents' tendency to over-advise, lecture, or even take over completely. When the child complained about his friend rejecting game ideas, mom immediately lectured. Good friends must communicate. You can't always get your way. Such situations happen frequently in daily life. For example, when an elementary student tells you, "The teacher scolded me today for not memorizing the text," you immediately retort, "Why didn't you study properly then? You deserve that scolding. From now on, memorize texts before bedtime." Now, how does the child feel? He realizes sharing troubles only makes things worse. Already upset about the teacher's criticism, now he's criticized again at home. Worse, you immediately impose new rules. His reaction is predictable. "I regret telling you," or "Whatever I say, you lecture me. I'll never share school stuff again." Thus, the child withdraws. The third reason, when children resist cooperating, parents often force compliance harshly. As children grow, parents teach them to conform to social norms. For instance, be polite, maintain neatness, follow rules, etc. Thus, parents cultivate habits and set behavioral boundaries. But these require the child's willingness to cooperate. Often children resist, like when told to tidy toys, pack school bags, and clean rooms nightly. Yet the child goes to bed without tidying anything. Children ignoring parental instructions and refusing to cooperate easily angers parents. At this point, many parents resort to blaming, insulting, and threatening their children. For example, parents might say, "How many times have I told you? Clean your room. Look at this pigsty. Are you a pig?" Or, "If you don't pick up your toys, I'll throw them all away." Do these accusations and threats work? Some children might comply temporarily, moving only when pushed. Others refuse entirely, ignoring parents or deliberately acting out, what parents call becoming more mischievous. But this is actually the child expressing inner resistance. You might say, "Then I'll teach him a lesson to remember." And this is precisely what children don't want to hear or discuss. Fourth reason, when children misbehave, parents default to punishment. But does it work? In reality, it rarely does. Typically, children react in these ways after punishment. Now, first, they find your words so irritating they plot revenge, thus deepening antagonism between parent and child. Second, they feel unlucky about getting caught, resolving to be more careful next time. So parents discover superficial compliance masking constant lies. Third, they internalize your criticisms, leading to self-doubt, self-rejection, and inferiority. Fourth, punishment reduces guilt over misbehavior. They believe punishment cancels their crime, so they repeat mistakes guilt-free. Most crucially, children mirror parental methods. Parents model unreasonable communication, so children replicate it. Punishment fails. Then is praise effective? Sometimes, even after praise, children still resist communication. Why does this happen? This reveals the fifth reason children refuse to listen or talk. When children need encouragement, parents' praise methods are flawed. For example, a child's test score rises from 85 to 90. You happily exclaim, "I knew you were smart," but the child knows their actual ability. Hearing exaggerated praise, they might think parents are just comforting them, not genuinely acknowledging their effort. Imagine learning tennis. You're struggling to clear the net, then hit one decent shot. Your partner exclaims, "Great shot!" This praise might feel awkward rather than encouraging. Another example, after dinner, a child draws a transformer. Dad praises, "Wow, amazing, I love it." But the child looks unhappy. Turns out he's dissatisfied with several parts of his drawing. Dad's praise makes him doubt whether dad truly likes it. Put yourself in this situation. You're reheating leftover chicken soup for dinner. A friend drops by unexpectedly. You share the simple meal, but they say, "You're such a great cook." How would you feel? What's wrong with this praise? This is called evaluative praise. What does that mean? Words like smart, amazing, or excellent are judgments, final verdicts on a person. Such praise often makes recipients skeptical. My drawing isn't that good. Is he lying? Or it highlights their weaknesses.
Seriously, I only got 85 last time. How am I smart? It also creates pressure.
I did well by chance this time and got praised. What if I fail next time? Does that make me stupid? Naturally, parents see more resistance the more they praise this way. These are the 5 core reasons children refuse to listen or talk. Let's review them. First, parents often deny and ignore children's feelings. Second, when children share struggles, parents over-advise, lecture, or take over.
Third, when children resist cooperating, parents force compliance harshly.
Fourth, when children misbehave, parents default to punishment.
Fifth, when children need encouragement, parents use flawed praise methods. These 5 reasons are like minefields. Stepping on even one gradually shuts down communication with children. So what can parents do to make children willing to listen and talk? That's the second question we're addressing today. The author's advice can be summarized in a 4-step approach: acknowledge, understand, problem solve, and praise. Let's explore this using the earlier example of the child fighting with Xuan Xuan. First step, listen actively and acknowledge the child's feelings. When your child shares a conflict with friends, stop what you're doing and truly listen. Let them finish speaking. If you only pretend to listen while watching TV or scrolling your phone, the child will feel discouraged. Respond with simple acknowledgments like, "Oh, is that so?" These brief cues show you're engaged and encourage them to share their struggle. Parents must also show understanding. How? The authors suggest verbalizing their feelings. Xuansuan not playing with you must make you really angry. Many parents avoid this, fearing it might deepen the child's sadness. But paradoxically, hearing this comforts children. They feel deeply understood.
Like when a craft fails. The rabbit ears keep falling off. That must be frustrating.
The child then knows you recognize their frustration. Or after failing a test, doing poorly on exams feels awful. They understand you're not criticizing. You know they already feel bad. What if younger children just cry without articulating feelings? Help them express emotions creatively. The authors describe their 3-year-old son throwing a floor-kicking tantrum. They crouch down, handing him a pencil and paper. "Show me how angry you feel. Draw it for me." The boy scribbled fiercely while shouting, "I'm this angry." "You really are furious," they acknowledged, giving another sheet. "Show me more." Still agitated, the child scribbled wildly across the second page. After 4 pages, he finally calmed down. The authors emphasize that when children express emotions, parents shouldn't judge whether those feelings are right or wrong. Because parent and child are separate individuals with different perceptions, each has valid feelings that aren't right or wrong. So you shouldn't deny their feelings, but does avoiding denial mean unconditionally agreeing with them? For example, if a child hates their friend, should parents echo, "You're right to feel that way"? Absolutely not. Constant agreement might satisfy temporarily but prevent self-reflection on behavior. Children don't need validation like, "You're right." They need understanding of their experience. After acknowledgement, must we immediately push solutions? Not yet. That's for steps 2 and 3. At this first stage, try solving problems through fantasy play. This clever approach makes children feel deeply understood. When conflicts arise but can't be resolved immediately, use fantasy. Say, "I bet you wish a magic spell could make Swan Swan cooperate." Though children know it's pretend, fulfilling wishes symbolically brings comfort. Some parents worry, is this tricking children? Not at all. Once their longing is understood, accepting reality becomes easier. Like adults venting about a cheating partner. When a friend rages, "I'll slap that jerk," knowing it won't happen. You still feel comforted and find closure. This exemplifies using hypothetical scenarios to show understanding. Ultimately, active listening and acceptance require parents to respect and understand the child's perspective. This is true empathy.
Thus, the authors stress parental attitude matters more than verbal techniques.
Without parental empathy, children see any words as manipulative. Feelings come first. After acknowledging feelings and calming emotions, address the actual problem. This leads to step 2. Help children organize thoughts to identify the core issue. Once the child is calm, try this approach. First, summarize their perspective. So, you wish Xuan Xuan would play with you more often. If the child agrees, you've pinpointed the key issue. Then express your own feelings and needs. For example, hearing this really scared me. I'm terrified you and Xuan Xuan might hurt each other. The authors remind parents, keep this step brief and clear. Lengthy venting about worries or anger makes children tune out. Once the core issue is identified, move to step 3, brainstorm solutions. The authors suggest writing down all ideas together. Why? Writing shows seriousness. Children feel valued. They might suggest wild ideas, like solving the Xuan Xuan conflict. Give Xuan Xuan an obedience candy so he'll play.
If Xuan Xuan refuses, turn him into a monster and beat him up.
Ask Xuan Xuan what he wants to play. Do his game first, then mine. Tell Xuan Xuan his rejection makes me sad.
Obedience candy, monster transformations, and beatings aren't good solutions.
But resist commenting. Just write them down during brainstorming. Criticizing ideas like, that's bad, ruins the entire process. When children see even outrageous suggestions written seriously, they feel accomplished and cooperate willingly. After listing everything, analyze together. Which solutions are mutually acceptable? When rejecting ideas, avoid insults like, that's stupid. Instead, describe personal reactions. This makes me uncomfortable, or I don't think we can do this. Like the first idea, obedience candy, but there's no such thing, so I don't think we can do that. The second idea, beating him up, makes me uncomfortable. The third idea, playing his game first, do you think that's workable? If the child says, I can't do it, don't criticize. Shift to the fourth idea, telling Xuan Xuan you're unhappy. Do you think that solves it? The child might answer, probably not yet. Keep discussing this way until you both agree on an actionable solution. For example, your agreed solution could be, tell Xuan Xuan you're unhappy, then suggest playing your game once before playing his. Once the plan's set, it's time for action.
Step 4. Give timely praise and affirmation, then step back to foster independence.
So how to praise correctly? Replace evaluative praise with descriptive praise. State facts and progress you observe. For example, if the child plays happily with Xuan Xuan again, you discussed playtime without tantrums. Well done. Describing your own feelings is also effective praise. Ike, I'm so happy you and Xuan Xuan made up. The authors suggest adding a summarizing word. Taking turns without tantrums? That's cooperation. Or saving the last cake for Xuan Xuan? That's self-discipline. Introducing new words helps children gain self-awareness. You might ask, what if there's nothing praiseworthy? The authors suggest shifting perspective. Has the child improved compared to before? Is he attempting changes? Then highlight progress made to motivate continued effort. For example, fraction problems, 10 is overwhelming, but you finish 2, you're pushing through. This validates effort and fuels motivation. As this 4-step approach, acknowledge, understand, problem solve, praise, works better, parents can apply it to more situations, letting children organize problems, plan steps, and gain independence. For example, let your child plan their evening schedule, or when conflicts arise with friends, instead of immediate advice, say, I believe there are websites about how teens handle social issues. Let's see what they suggest. Many parents worry, what if this doesn't work? The authors say that means you and your child need more reflection, research, and discussion. Return to step 3. Besides, we all know no single method works forever. What works at age 8 might fail at 12. Winter solutions may not fit spring. Life requires constant adjustment. The key is making children feel they're solving problems, not causing them. The authors stress, this method isn't about manipulating children into obedience, but nurturing initiative, responsibility, and inner discipline. Most crucially, teach children that in tough situations, don't focus on opposition or winning or losing. Channel energy into solutions. This mindset helps them face future societal challenges. Finally, the authors note a vital point. Parents' own emotions matter too. Some parents admit, when disciplining, I feel blood boiling. I can't control wanting to yell. Is this wrong? Should parents ever lose their temper? Many parenting books emphasize staying positive, emotionally stable, and loving unconditionally, implying parents shouldn't have negative feelings. After outbursts, parents often regret and self-blame, thinking they failed their child. But these authors disagree. Parents must acknowledge their own emotions. Parenting is high pressure. Children do provoke anger. It's normal for parents to have emotions. They don't need endless patience. Children aren't as fragile as imagined. Parents need to express their feelings. It lightens their burden. This is beneficial. Parental wisdom lies in appropriately expressing anger while releasing emotions without harming the child. So how should parents handle their emotions? First, when angry, clearly state what you dislike and how it affects you. For example, seeing your messy room makes me feel exhausted. Because if you don't clean up, I'll have to do it after dinner. Or I'm tired after work and need rest. But your loud music makes resting impossible. Then add what you want. I need your room tidy, or lower the volume. Notice? The author's phrasing always starts with I, unlike you statements like, why haven't you cleaned? Or why are you so lazy?
Don't you know it's noisy?
Such language commands and judges, breeding resistance. But I statements differ. They convey an invitation. I have a problem and need your help. What if you're so furious you want to hit your child? The author offers a humorous solution. Tell the child to run for their life. Got example, a 7-year-old boy hits his sister over a toy. Mom is furious.
She tells him, I'm so angry I might hit you. Run!
He bolts away.
Later, he peeks back. Can I come home now, Mom?
Mom replies, not yet. I'm still angry. Make peace with your sister first.
The boy entertains his sister with clown acts until they're playing together.
This emergency tactic gives the child an escape route instead of physical punishment. Of course, many parents lose composure and hit their child. The authors suggest that once you've calmed down, you can call your child over and say you want to have a serious talk. At that moment, the child might feel wronged, their self-esteem bruised, and be unwilling to talk. You can tell your child, Mom regrets it now. I shouldn't have hit you. That was wrong. When you start discussing it, the child's emotions might soften right away. Then you can say, can we think of a way to prevent this from happening again? Do you have any suggestions? This brings us back to the steps. Acknowledge, understand, problem solve, and praise.
All right, we've covered the second question, how to get children to listen and talk, addressing the 5 reasons they refuse.
Based on the author's advice, we've outlined a 4-step solution. Acknowledge, understand, problem solve, and praise. Step 1 is to actively listen and acknowledge the child's feelings. Step 2 is to help the child organize their thoughts and identify the core conflict. Step 3 is to brainstorm solutions together and find the best approach. Step 4 is for parents to give descriptive praise and gradually let the child become independent. Finally, the authors note a crucial point. Parents' own emotions matter too. Parents need to express their feelings to lighten their burden. Actually, communicating with kids is hard because parents don't put themselves at eye level with their children. If we're willing to crouch down, patiently listen to their inner thoughts, understand, and respect them, all problems will resolve themselves. All right, that wraps up our interpretation of how to talk so kids will listen and listen so kids will talk. The book notes are below the audio. See you next time.